Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I am Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day, Monday through Friday, is a great day to learn about the Claris FileMaker platform. Yes, very exciting. So today is Friday, so we're bumping up against the end of the week. Today, we got Christian Schmitz is going to be talking about Excel, importing, exporting, interacting with Excel and FileMaker. It's not something that I do personally. And so someone was asking me, how do you do this, Richard? I said, dude, I don't know. I have no idea. And the question was that they wanted to not just do an export out of FileMaker and Excel, but do a bunch of styling and other extra stuff. And I said, I know who to ask. Let's ask Christian Schmitz. So we called him, and Christian Schmitz says, oh, absolutely. We've got 12,281 functions, and 1,000 of those is dedicated to Excel. So momentarily, we're going to get into that conversation. This live stream is totally free. So if you want to support the channel, we recommend that you check out one of the training bundles to keep it up to date. Even if you hate the training, but you love the live stream, we really appreciate it's how we pay the bills to keep the lights on. And that also goes with what you're going to see with Christian Schmitz momentarily. Christian Schmitz makes a really fantastic product. It's practically free. Let's just be clear about this. The price is so low, it's practically free. So that's Christian Schmitz with the MonkeyBread plugin. It's there's a free level of it that does a bunch of stuff. If you want all the creamy goodness, it's about $1.25 or $1.26 or some really low number. That's US dollars per user per month. So for someone to use it for the entire year on their computer is like in the neighborhood of like $15 for the year or something. It's stupid cheap. So, but the product is super high quality. And if you have a problem or you need a new feature like, gee, Christian, it'd be really great if FileMaker would do the new Excel gee whiz thing. Christian Schmitz is always releasing new features like every 2 or 3, 4 weeks. It's always constantly. So I know I'm talking about him, but you could either take my word for it or you can take the word of the guy who owns the product. I think it's probably better that because I'm not being paid to say this stuff. I use his product. Even Nick Hunter, who hates plugins, uses MonkeyBread now because Christian Schmitz's awesomeness is so epic, so bodaciously awesome that even Nick Hunter had to admit that Christian was awesome and he installed it. And Nick hates plugins. Oh, does he hate plugins? Christian's managed to convert people who really, really, really hate plugins into using them. That's saying something. So as a side note, some of you are watching the video. Okay, back up. You shouldn't be watching the video while you're driving down the road. So, but some people listen to, it's like, look at the camera, driving, do not cause a crash in your car. If your Tesla is auto driving, you still have to pretend that you're driving, and hopefully it doesn't kill you or anyone else. That being said, some of you watch the recording of these videos on YouTube. I want to say a shout out to DeWitt, if I'm saying that correctly or not. Hopefully that's true. People watching the live streams, it is good stuff. All right, so let's pivot to Excel. So Excel is this thing by Microsoft. And then there's FileMaker that is not Excel. And people like to move data back and forth. So Christian, what are we doing today and why should we care? That's what I always ask people.
You know, FileMaker has some built-in Excel import-export.
Very few and very small. It does export. It exports and it imports basically, right? That's all it does, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
But some of our customers need more.
How about every last customer I know needs more?
Yeah, basically everyone could need that because people still use a lot of Excel files. And so they get, for example, a price list every month to import. Or they may need to export a report. So as you may know, we have a couple of examples coming with the plugin. And for the Excel functions and the MES plugin, we partner with a different company. That's libxl.
Oh, it's another library. I'm afraid to ask how much this is going to cost.
It's about, where is it? $200 per platform.
Okay, so if you bought your plugin for a team of 5 people, you could buy this for $200 and add the Excel special stuff onto it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start with a simple project here. We have an Excel file, and we extract text from it. And we get some text, and well, it's a demo mode. So just let's go here to see a little bit of the basics. The first thing is it's an additional library, so you have to have it somewhere, put it in a folder, where you like it, and then tell the plugin where to find it and load it.
Okay.
All the examples are built in a way that we just look in the folder where the example is for the file. So when you get the examples with the MBS plugin, you get all the example files and the libraries here. There's one for Mac and one for Windows. The Linux one is here in the Linux folders. So there is a Linux one for ARM and a Linux one for Intel.
So question, best practices, I guess this gets back to like DynaPDF, which is the PDF library that we use. What's the best practice? Where would we stick all these
Well,
at?
usually the best thing is to find the settings dialog and go to the plugins folder and
So
see
we
where
could
the
just stick
plugins
it
are.
in there, stick it in extensions. So
Yeah.
that would be
So instead of the version dependent one, I always use here the version independent one. Then I can just put the plugin there, the libxl and the DynaPDF in one folder. And when I do that, I can actually here skip all the parsing and just path in nothing. And the path is optional because the plugin will know what the file name should be for the platform you're on. And it knows where the plugin folder is, so it can just look in the plugin folder for the file with the right file name.
Okay, interesting.
So that's something I made for people. So we have it here. We can just load it. Yeah, it's already working. So
okay, yeah, it's already working.
If you want to do something with libxl, like you want to load a file, we have a function, load book. This function is does a lot of things. It can take your Excel document as a container value, so you have it in a field, or as a file path. So do we have an example here? So it can take it. You can directly pass your container field, and the plugin just reads it. Or here we load it from a file path, and then we can edit it and we can save it back. And saving, we can save to file or we can save to container. So let's go back here. So we have a few utility functions like this get text thing is just get everything as a text. And we also have here some CSV functions demonstrated in this example, which basically gets all the data as CSV data. So we can ask when we load
so
the document.
Back up. A moment ago when we said get the data, it just like threw it in there. Was it tab? What was that first format that we saw? Because that was CSV just now.
Oh, that was just text with tabs here.
Tab. So tab delimited, right? Most of the FileMaker people recognize that. So you got tab delimited, comma, what separated, right? Is that the one, right?
That's the other one.
Values,
CSV.
I think.
So the idea is here, this example just shows some high-level functions, like we ask here for what the first row, last row, first column, last column, so you know about how big your sheet is. And then you can just ask the plugin to read all the values into a matrix. And that's a data structure managed by the plugin where you have all the values in a two-dimensional array in memory. And then we ask the matrix to give us a CSV text. But that may be a bit much for a start. So let's go back and say, let's say we want to write some data to a sheet. Let's say we want to create a new book. And when we create a new book, there's a function xl new book, and it creates a new Excel document in memory.
Can I ask what a book is? I'm not an Excel person. I have a spreadsheet or worksheet. What is a book?
Yeah, well, a book is the name for the file itself, the container.
Okay.
This book has several sheets, several papers.
So it has several worksheets, what we call worksheet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
So that's
if you're just using Excel, it's different tabs.
Yeah. No,
so
I got it.
They have different.
A worksheet, Margaret, is really similar to a table in a lot of ways. So their book is potentially like a FileMaker file, very loosely as an analogy. And each spreadsheet is a table, and there's multiple tables in one of their books, which means multiple tables in a file, which is interesting. Okay, cool.
Okay, so we create a new book. We can decide if we want the old format, the XLS format, or the XLSX format. So you pass either a 0 for the old format or a 1 for the new format. Depends on what other software needs to read it later. Some people have workflows which require the older or the new format. Then we can do a lot of things to make your Excel book. Like we can, let's scroll down, we can actually write values into it. So for example, here, we just write some text. We write no text, we write some numbers. We can fill each cell on the sheet with a certain value. There are also functions to transfer a lot of values in one call. Like you can have a block you can have a list of text, and then we can fill several cells with the text. And you may want to have a loop over your data to pass on this here. Oh, this creates just blank cells.
Wow.
You can write the values, and you may want to define which format to use to format the cells. So you can define custom formats.
I have a question because I saw that you could do formulas.
Yeah.
I know that you can do multiplication inside of Excel where it saves it. Can you send that through MBS as well?
Yeah, you can write a cell into, no, you can write a formula into a cell, and here's the calculation. And there's also a function where you can also put in the result, but otherwise the calculation will happen the first time the document opens in Excel.
Cool.
So you can have calculations.
I'm going to just step back for this, an important thing that most people don't think about, and it's mostly to do with importing FileMaker. This is or importing Excel data. This is exporting it here, which is awesome. But a lot of us, I've had, very rarely do I output out of Excel, but I import out of Excel quite a bit. And you can set up a script that will import it and parse things correctly. However, Margaret, as a developer, and I'm laying this on you, but you're an intermediate person who hasn't run into this yet, is that the people who build Excel files willy-nilly will move things around, and then they think it's all great. And the problem is if you script a process to import, you assume that column 1 is this, and worksheet 1 is this, and column 2 is this, and then they monkey and move things around. Your script magically won't work, and it throws the data in the wrong spots. So one of the things that you have to beat into the people who are using this is that once you set up a file, I'm going to say file format, the formatting of the Excel file, right, is to don't monkey with it, because if they change it, then you have to go into FileMaker and fix it because it'll be broke. Unless we don't have an AI yet that figures out the import and how to make that better, right? So that's an important one, Margaret. So
okay, here we have an old example to export to a container.
That's valuable. People ask for this all the time, at least in terms of exporting to.
So let me just open this numbers. So this will write, well, I didn't put in a license key, so this will just write a document and put the records here into this file.
Okay.
Let me show how we did that. So this case, we make a new book. We add a sheet. So
you created it. It wasn't a pre-existing file. It was
it's a new file.
Your script is building the new file. Okay.
New file. We add a sheet, label it addresses. So you should actually see that here. Yeah, there's addresses as a tab. Then we write some text into it. And here the header line. So last name, street, zip, city. And you have to address always the which book to use, because you can have several books open with the plugin. You can have several sheets, so you always have to pass in which sheet to use, which row, the column number, and then the text. And then we loop over the records and just write every value into a cell. And that's the most simple thing here, because we don't specify a format, we don't have numbers, we just write everything as text in this case. And on the end, we save the file. Maybe make it more complicated. One is this one here, where we have a template document. So that's often what we see with customers, they have some template to fill out. So I just have here dummy template. Right? And when I, place. And when I fill it, I put in the values. So let's see how we did that. So we load the existing book from the container, and then we fill it with the values, and this is just writing here numbers, a text number into the cells. On the end, we write a formula here to sum up the values and save it. And so we have here a working sum. This is here sum C5 to C13. The calculation is always written in English because it's actually parsed and saved as tokens. It's not saved as text you enter. So we wanted to do an import. So I thought about we could build an import and take here the starting point for this. Yeah, so let's see, where could we have an import? Maybe just have contacts. Yeah, there's some contacts. So let's say we make an Excel document with some new contacts to import. Would that be something to do?
That would be a good one to do.
So, okay, I define a new file here, and I just put in, first name, last name, company, or what else do we have here? And let's put in a name, say me, oops. So, and we save the file. Oh, yeah, we can save it, but I will save it as an Excel file here. That's for import. So the file is there, yeah. So let's make a new script. We are somewhere, yeah. Import. And now we would make a new variable, and we would first try to locate the file. The file is on disk, so I copy the path and have it here. So we have a file on disk with a path. You may use functions like MBS functions to ask the user for the path with a dialog, or let them drag and drop it, or whatever.
Got it.
The next thing would be to load it. So we would say here MBS. Oh, no, I need to go to this dialog. XL load book. Path. Don't need that. So when we have loaded the book, we may want to inspect how many sheets did we get. So sheet count. Oops. So you could technically have your script ask for how many sheets, how many columns a sheet has. So you can say the sheet column count changed. So we have to adjust the script. There's sheet count. $book. And on the end, we would of course have a function to close the book. Release $book. So you have to clean up on the end, otherwise you run out of memory eventually if you have thousands of Excel documents loaded.
Yeah. Memory management.
Every week a customer complains about this. So the first thing we would do, we would define that the sheet we are interested in as the first one. Then we would maybe have a loop. Let's check again. So the field here is named first name, last name. So we may want to read this caption lines. So let's say we have here column 0 title. So just let us read it. XL sheet cell read. So we have a ton of functions here. So you can just text or value. Value is also interesting because it may give you the value as a text or number depending on what type Excel uses. but we are just interested in text here. So the book, the sheet, row 0, first row, first column. So let's just duplicate this and see what the titles are.
Any questions, Margaret?
I don't
So
see any.
maybe
I
I should.
people are riveted.
People are riveted with Excel. See, that's on a Friday, you can't tell if they're drinking already or they're actually riveted or they just, hate Excel if they have to use it.
So let's. Oh, we got a lot of globals here. So we got a book, we got a parse. We have a sheet count 1. The sheet is 0, column 1. No, I didn't put in the license key. Yeah. Let's just adjust it and say, wait. Oh,
Is it mad about the license key? What is it mad about?
no, the thing is, I was reading this cell, and in the demo version, I get this demo string, but actually the header row is the second.
Oh, okay. So you're looking at the wrong cell for it.
I'm looking at the wrong row. So, but it may be good to just make a variable for that, because this magic number 0 here, magic numbers is always difficult because after half a year, you don't know what it was. So this is the row we are interested in. Let's run again in the debugger.
Yeah, Margaret and I had a conversation about commenting your code 2 days ago, i.e., please comment something so we know what we're doing.
There we go. Now it's getting stuff.
So it's complaining here that the first cell doesn't have a value, but the other one's first name, last name, company. Okay. So the thing you could do now is that you can actually have your script be variable with which column is what. So we could now decide to say that, we like to get all the titles. Let's just try that. And then decide which cell we want. So sheet, cell. So we could decide to just say we want from the sheet, we want from this row to this row. We want to have all the columns. That's 4. So row dilemma doesn't, but column dilemma could be that. And if I run it, I get all the content of the first row. Oh, second row in this case. So the header row, I get it all as a one list. So I tell the plugin, read me all the cells in this row from first column to whatever column it is. And there I may actually want to use the last column. So we could do that. And then we could ask the plugin, what's the index of the column first name? So we can be flexible if the import document ever changes which column is which value. As long as the title here, the header name stays the same.
Interesting. So you kind of evade the column problem that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah. So let's say this is column title. Oh, plugin change the font size. So let's say here last column. And let's ask what the last column is. So what does it get last? Last column. Book, $sheet. So, and then we could say column first name is, and now we need to have the index of a value in a list. Does FileMaker has a function for that?
Pattern count, maybe?
It's just, do we have it still in the, no. Good idea. Step, step, step. So, yeah, there it is. So pattern count, $column, titles, first name. Last name. Now this just gives 1 because it's counts how often it finds it. Let's try MBS find. Let's see. 2. First name 1. Yeah.
Always the improved version in MBS.
Yeah, I just said the question. Does FileMaker have such a function, you know? What was it? First name, column, first name, column times full name. I think we have to use -1. So we actually get the right number. Last name. And we have company. So I'm hoping this is not too boring.
It's always interesting watching people sift through.
Well, yeah, it's Excel, right? That makes it so much harder. It's hard to be excited about that. These
So,
people.
First name is 0. Last name is 1.
We do have some questions from David Angel. Do you need the book, the sheet, the column, and the line? So do you need all 4 in order for this to work?
What are the minimum requirements, Christian Schmidt, for building an Excel file?
No, you mean here the functions to call. So
Well,
you need to specify the
I
book,
think he's
the
asking
sheet.
what's the minimum requirements, right, to build a file, right? So it doesn't freak out, I guess. Margaret, is that the way you're understanding it the same as me? Or is he
Yeah,
asking?
that's kind of what I was asking, or I think.
So yeah, works with Windows, Linux, macOS, and iOS. iOS, of course, only with the FileMaker iOS SDK. So you may prefer to run it on the server side if you use FileMaker Go. So this can be run on a server script automatically at night if you want. If you need to address something on the sheet, you always have to give the plugin the book, the sheet, so you have to address very specifically which value you want to read or write. So
Got it. So
please try it. You can try everything without a license. And I just noticed here that we are off by 1 because our list find function is 0 base 2. So we don't need the -1. And now we have the column indexes. And now we can maybe make a loop over the rows. So let's ask the plugin what's the last row number. And then we can add a for loop, most used snippet. Loop counting up from 1. Let's say we are counting we're starting at 2 because the title row was 1. So this is 2. Row 0 is not used here in this example. So row is smaller than last row. And we add 1 to the row. And we exit if row is bigger than last row. Okay. The next thing would be to read the values. So set variable, we have our first name, and that's Excel sheet, salary, text, $book, $sheet, $row, and $column. Auto-completion really helps you.
definitely the thing I use the most by far.
Last name. So you see a lot of copy and paste, and probably someone would just automate this and say, let's make it all dynamically, like loop over the field names. There's an extra space, yeah. So you could loop over your field names. You could look for a column with the field name, and then you could put the value dynamically in the field. So, but that's even a level higher on the coding. So we got the values. Oh, let's see if that works at all. It's live programming. We iterate. Sometimes you have to tell customers that it takes a while. So first name Richard, company,
Yep.
RCC, Carlton.
There you
So,
go.
and another one, yeah, that's me. And then we get empty cells. Maybe we should stop there. So let's say if MBS XL sheet cell is state now, and there's something like is empty. Style text format date. Or we could just ask for the cell type. So every cell has a type. We can quickly take a look on the types list. So a type of a cell can be empty, a number cell, a text cell, a boolean, blank, or error. So empty is more not defined. Blank is intentionally empty. So let's just say if the type is not text, we can skip. So here, skip empty rows. Otherwise, we can read them because you always have this empty lines somewhere. So the next thing would be to make a record in FileMaker and commit and set field. Let's take a look. Contacts. First name.
Hey, Margaret, who was asking the questions about Excel? One of our
David
live stream. Oh, he was? Who was the person originally asked that Excel question? You remember that?
Chris Johnson.
Okay, I don't know if he's here or if he'll watch the recording or not.
That Jesse, I know there's a couple people on our stream that really need Excel functions. I know there's a couple that are like,
Really, if you are in a database of someone else, a search feature is really useful. So name last. Let's see, do we have a company?
It's called account. It's called account. Account
name?
Yeah, account name. Yeah, but because it's a company or it's an organization, so we end up just calling it account. The cross-reference to the account table. It's one of those things that no matter what customer I get, they're never happy with how that's structured and starting point. But there's not one consistent way of setting up accounts or companies or organizations.
Wait, do I need to, is that a foreign key? Do I need to pick it by name? Or?
Yeah, there's an ID in contact. There should be an ID account foreign _F if you want to populate that one.
Oh, let's wait. So
it's kind of right there, more or less. You want to flip that.
ID contact? No,
there's ID contact. That's the primary key. Then the foreign key would be ID contact _F or little.
Okay.
Curly F. Account ID. There it is. ID account. You went right past it. ID account. ID. It's all under I. There they all are.
There it is. Okay.
That should be. That should have an _F on it. Yeah.
Well, I'll add that to the list of things to fix an FMSP.
Okay, so
we're just talking.
Now I want to leave it out first. Let's see if it works at all. And let's run through this. My point, did it created someone? Yeah.
There you go. Created you.
And another one, yeah. Okay. So I did it. Now I would need to figure out which company to use. Yeah, but that's
complicated.
That's complicated. Yeah, we would need to make a lookup.
We do have a question from someone asking if you can do something. I'd like to make user-friendly column headers.
Yeah, that's something we have a whole example for. Like that's something people ask a lot. Change column names.
They're still asking for that in the FileMaker platform. They still don't have that.
You mean there are people which just buy MBS plugin and libxl just to change the titles, the columns. Major sale point, you know? So in this case, it just load the book.
There's very little chance of all the things that people want ever being built by Claris, but nothing like having Christian Schmitz riding to the rescue.
Let's go back. So this is a very easy example. We load the file, we save the file, and in between, we just change some text cells in a certain row on the top, which column you like. And so you have here the export. which looks like this here: ABC first name, company, underscore telephone, whatever. Some column names, and then yeah, and then we change it. And where's it? New column names. And then it puts here in first name and phone number, and it just overrides the text in the cell.
Yeah, that is a really common request, even not even Excel, but in FileMaker. Like, well, we have these fields, and some of us name our fields like ZK underscore Bravo 5 and then underscore first name. And so people want to just have just the first name in the column, Margaret. It's a very common request.
That makes
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean, you can just load the file, export it with FileMaker, and then make adjustments. Like you can also color cells or add a picture.
Oh my gosh, this product is so amazing. It's like gasoline for
Yeah,
a,
we
a
had-
gas car, right? So it's like
So this was
buy a car, but if you don't put MonkeyBread in the gas tank, it ain't gonna work.
okay. Let's quickly do something simple. Let's say we want to make the last name bold or so. So FileMaker doesn't do that. So we could say we need a format definition, and we need a font definition. Oh, first start with a font definition. MBS XL. What is it? No, where is it? Book at. Font definitions. Yeah, font definitions are global in the book. As leaves empty, so we add a font definition, and for the font we say it should be bold. So our font should be bold. Well, this could be just 2. And now we have a font defined. Let's define a format. Format. Again here, MBS XL book add format. For the book, you can always clone existing formats or font definitions, so you can reuse them, adjust them. Like you can have one for bold text, and then you can have another format, other child format, which maybe has bold red text. Set variable. Now we link them. MBS XL format, set font, so book format, and that is the font reference. Now we have a font defined. Now we should put it on the cells. So set variable. Let's see, MBS XL sheet. Cell, white, style, format, where is it?
Styled text.
No, I have to find my own function.
I saw a set cell format. Is that what you're
There are a
looking
lot of functions you see. Set format. Oh, set formats. Yeah, we take the plural because we can just put in an array. So let's see. This is to first row. So from row 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 to 5. Column is 1 to 1. The formats to use is just $format. So one value goes into all the formats. Oh, this doesn't make sense. Oh no, this is a delimiter here in the list. So you can have a list of formats applied to a list of cells, and then you need the delimiters. There's a semicolon missing. So let's run this. Place here. Let's see. Oh, we got here bold.
There you go.
We lost the border because the old format had a border. The new format doesn't have the border.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. So our format doesn't define a border, so we don't get one. There's one column. Let's see. So it's, yeah, 2, 3, 4. I need to actually make 5 here. I need to reload it. Yeah, now we have here both.
There you go.
So
We have another question. I'm looking to use this to generate smarter log files. What do you mean by smarter? Like calculations inside of your log files?
you can decide to write your log entries into an Excel file. Sure, why not? I don't pretend to see a reason for that. By the way, you can specify the sheet by index or name with rows and columns. I think you have them as numbers only, but I could actually look in the documentation. There is a function to convert from row col. Yeah, so you can ask the plugin what's the row number for C10, which would give you 9, or you can ask for the column, so you can ask the plugin what to use. So C is 2, so we usually use indexes there. I don't think you can just put in the letter with the plugin.
We have a
Oh, you
question.
want to add a I think we got a question about a link.
Yes, can you add an FMP URL link on the exported IDs to reopen the record?
Yeah. Add hyperlink. So let's see. Let's copy this. Let's try. Let's see.
I was agreeing and I was muted and I couldn't. I was agreeing. The link is a excellent idea.
Yeah, let's say you have some. Let's make an HTTPS link. FM training TV. Because for the FMP link, I would need to know what to call. So let's say we put it on the row 3. So I again give an area on where the link should be. Let's say this. Let's run it again. Replace, close, open again. Did we get anything? I don't see it. Let me open it in LibreOffice. Oh, there's a link. So you see, it's
There you go.
there is a link.
Mm.
It shows here, but it didn't show in numbers.
Does numbers just lack the ability to have links, or?
Oh, it
Oh,
does.
it's there. It just doesn't
The link
highlight.
works. It doesn't show. There's no formatting for the link.
You'd
Oh,
have to make it blue or something, right? So yeah, a little formatting it out.
Yeah, but probably somewhere it's defined. Okay, so we can add a link. This can usually be an FMP URL. Maybe I should try it. Let's say row 4 and FMP. What do I take? I mean, just make them. It will give us an error message, I think. It's easier to see in LibreOffice. Oh yeah, you see, file couldn't be found. So an FMP URL is certainly possible. You may want to include the script name and as a parameter maybe some record ID, so it can jump to the right record.
there you go, Labo. People are typing, so there's a follow-up question coming, but they're still typing it.
Yeah, the other thing people can do when importing is they can use the import function in FileMaker itself, but they can prepare the Excel file with the plugin, so they can maybe delete some data they don't want to import into FileMaker, or maybe remove some sheets and just maybe remove the things they don't want to import, and then have FileMaker do the import.
So Brooks is looking to have a log file that has logging last modified information, field, date, time, etc. that would append to an Excel sheet that I can review. or see like how many modifications someone has made in a week.
Yeah, this is basically exporting a report whenever you need it. You can load the existing Excel file and just add rows to it. There's a command here, insert the sheet. You can insert a sheet. You can insert rows if you want. So you could just put in a row at a certain position.
I'm hoping just to append rows automatically.
Well, if you write to a cell which is not yet defined, a new row. So let's say this has 0 to 12. So let's just put something in 14 and say here 14 and see what happens. Yeah, you see, automatically added rows to fulfill the wish.
Cool. Any other questions, comments? Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, FileMaker Rich, there's a comment about website. So Niels from Berlin made a little report thing here, which uses the libxl files and basically converts JSON into Excel files. So that's something you can learn how to use here, and it uses the MBS plugin, of course, and you define all your Excel configuration of the file as a big JSON, and then it runs through a script to translate the JSON to the Excel file.
Oh, that's cool. It also uses MBS. I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
fun.
That's using our plugin. We added a few more functions, I think, for him, but otherwise looks nice. So do we have any more questions, or is everyone sleeping already?
Can you write code in Python from a web viewer?
Write code in Python from a web viewer. Execute code or write code? Because most of the time you're going to write code in some sort of text code editor thing, right?
Excel accepts Python.
So a web viewer runs JavaScript code.
He's saying that
how you would
Excel
do
can run Python, so he or she is trying to get Python into Excel from FileMaker.
Yeah, not with our plugin.
Oh my God, it doesn't do it. It's actually a rare day, Margaret, when he says, I don't do it. I can't do it.
No, there's no Python here. I mean, if you like to use Excel and script it with Python, sure, you can do that. But this here is to automatically read Excel files automatically in a script or in a batch job. So, and it doesn't need Excel installed. So that's a key point here.
I think otherwise we're good. I don't see any other questions. The people who wanted the information, I think, have gotten it.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that it's this quiet, but it is Excel. That's always when I saw this topic, I'm like, oh my God, people are going to love it or they're going to lose their minds.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, if you need it, you really need it, and if you don't, then you don't need it at all.
Yeah, but what happens? The recording will be saved, so we make sure we want to put Excel in the title. FileMaker in
It's a
Excel.
title, so it'll be there.
That way, when it goes in
the his head is exploding. David needs this, but his head is currently processing everything that has just occurred.
Another thing I could point to is that you can actually get text from FileMaker. Well, it's style text. You can get style text from FileMaker into Excel sheet.
Ah, okay.
So what, it copies the conditional formatting or the text style? Sorry.
Yeah, conditional formatting is also a thing, but we have that in a live stream already.
Yeah.
So here, text style functions in FileMaker. Where is it? So I can say text color, for example, or text size. So I can make my first name, let's say 20 points. And now I can run it through and see if that happens in here. Yeah, you see. So the plugin can take the style information from FileMaker and take it over to the Excel document, which may help if your user maybe has text in the fields and formats them specifically. So you can take over the styles.
That's nifty.
So you don't need to create a format yourself.
Saves you the effort of coding that if you don't want it. Thank you very
Any
much,
other?
Christian. I think
Anyone else have any other questions? It's 2:00, so time's up. Monday. But if you have questions about MonkeyBread, or here's the trick: if you buy MonkeyBread, or you're gonna buy MonkeyBread, or if you put money into Christian Schmitz somehow, then whenever you get totally stuck on how to do something, you feel free to email him, and he'll probably have a sample file somewhere you don't know about, and he'll shoot you the sample on how to solve the problem you want to solve. I would tell you that if all of you created a question right now and sent it to him, he would probably have samples for 90% of them. And so it's worth its weight in gold to be able to send a guy like Christian, and because you're paying him for the plugin, then he's going to be more compelled to respond to your question and be able to be directed on how to solve the problem. I've done that a number of times. It's just a huge, huge help. So
Thank you.
No, it's always awesome. Richard has many times gone like, "Hey, can it do this?" And if it doesn't, then suddenly a new function appears, which is
yeah.
okay. Well, with that all being said, thank you so much, Christian. Thank you everyone
Okay.
for watching. You all have a lovely day.
See
Goodbye.
ya.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah.